so in case we have anybody that's okay. I'm actually just going to, I'm going to mute everybody, but then you can unmute yourself if you, at the end when we have questions, or if you need to stop me for whatever reason. But everybody can hear me okay? Good? Are you excited? Happy Sunday night. Happy Sunday night. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the fun part of your business, which is when it's like you're just in a funk, like the turbulent stuff is what I like to call it. There are some months in your business where you feel like you are a rock star and you're like, holy buckets, I'm probably going to be top 10 next week. And then there are some months in your business when you were like, okay, why did I think I could be a coach? This is so hard. And it just kind of throttles back and forth. But if you are not like ready for those moments and you don't have a plan of action, they can really set you back because they kind of make you snowfall into all these bad habits. And then things just tend to get worse instead of better. And you just start doubting yourself, and it's really hard to gain that confidence back. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you have stuff that pops up in your mind, like, oh yes, this happens to me, and I never know which direction to take it, write it down as we go through the call so we can share it at the end. I will try my best to get through it so we have time at the end, because I feel like it's so nice to hear from other people when you hear like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. Like 50 people told me no, and I thought I was a loser, but it turns out that's just how it goes sometimes. So if you have those situations or those things that happen to you, write it down so we can share it, we can talk about it, and we can think, okay, what's the best plan of action to do instead of just be miserable about it. And then we'll talk about it. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Natalie Salzman, excuse me, you're late. Please get off the call. Just kidding, kind of. Don't mind my computer. It's not organized. Okay, everybody see it okay? Good to go? Fab. Sabrina, you are who is in my screen, so if you see something wonky, just wave at me.
Hey, just real quick, sorry to interrupt. Are you recording?
Yes.
Okay.
We are good to go and recording. Okay, so let's talk about the turbulent times. Let's jump in so we can get through this call and hopefully get our wheels turning and reignite our motivation if we need it. So when to expect those turbulent times? So it's different for everybody, and that's important to know. So sometimes when you first sign up as a coach, maybe you've been posting on social media for a while, or you're already in the health and fitness field in some form or fashion. And so when you initially post that you're a coach, people are like, yes, they want to jump on board your train right away. Or maybe you've been posting about your journey, and so you've got a lot of value built up, so you have a lot of luck right away. Maybe you have nothing right away. So maybe you're coming out of the blue. It's your first challenge group. You're starting as a new coach, and you're also getting challengers to join you. So you may have, 2 or 3 people interested, but not a whole plethora. So you feel like you're starting uphill from the beginning. That is totally normal and totally okay. You've got to know that you have to build that value before people see that, okay, this girl's serious about it. She knows what she's doing. I know that she can help me, because they are looking to you to help them. So you've got to build that confidence in them that you are that right person. And then literally, I feel like about once a quarter, you're going to have a funk. There's going to be something that happens where you feel like, oh, this is harder than I thought it would be. After you have a really great month, you tend to fall yourself into a funk, because what tends to happen is during that great month, when you have all these people trying to get Success Club points and all these people are coming at you wanting to get in your challenge group, you tend to stop working behind the scenes. You get a little bit lazy because you've got so much going on. And so then that following month tends to be fall flat because you weren't doing any of that grinding, you weren't inviting, you slacked off on personal development, and that will show through the next month. After you hit a rank advancement, it's really common to get into a funk, because sometimes we push and push and push and push to get to a rank advancement. And then when we hit it, we're like, all right, we've arrived. And you kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit. And so you find yourself in a funk because, again, those behind the scene things, those things that happen outside of social media aren't happening, because you're like, I reached my rank advancement. That's what I was pushing for, and I'm done. And so then you fall into that same turbulent time. So those are kind of some ways to look and see, how can I avoid that from happening? But those are totally expected times. And if that has happened to you already, or you feel like you're approaching it, just know that's normal. You just have to get out of your own way. And know as well, when you hit that rank advancement, when you're having a really good month, when you feel like you're on fire, that's when you need to surge forward. That's when you need to invite like crazy. That is when you need to dive in, because you're feeling so confident. You will speak more confidently about the business. You'll speak more confidently about the challenge. That's when you can turn people like so quickly, because you are on fire. So that's when you need to push harder instead of let off the gas pedal and just kind of hope that people will keep coming to you, because they won't. They just won't. There's not an endless supply of people that are waiting and knocking on your doorstep. You've got to go and get them. So when that does happen to you, how do you work through it? So 3 things. You've got to make a decision before you ever get to your funk on what you're going to do. And then you've got to reflect on what is happening, why is it happening, and then take action. A lot of times we stop at the reflection. We figure out, okay, this is what's happening in business. This is where I'm falling short. But the take action is where we fall short. And that's the most important part. So going through it all. So number 1, you have to decide when you get into this business, or wherever you're at in this business, you have to figure out and decide, do you want to be here a year from now? Are you willing to do what it's going to take to get you there? Are you willing to be consistent? Are you willing to know that you're going to have ups and downs in your business, but you want to push through them because you know in the long term, if I can fight for 2 to 5 years, I can have this unimaginable life, versus spending 40 years in a career where, I may not ever be able to bust that glass ceiling, or I'm just making even, I'm just getting by. I'm not living my life freely. I'm not financially free. My time isn't free. So you've got to go back to that why you started. You've got to go back to that vision board. If you don't have your vision board made for 2016, make it, because you've got to have that in your face for when you have those bad moments and those rough weeks. So you can look at it and say, oh, that's right. I wanted to be able to pay off that student loan. Or, oh, that's right. I wanted to be able to quit my job this time next year. And that's what's going to remind you to, okay, I need to get back on the saddle. I need to figure out what's wrong and I need to fix it. But if you don't have that going on, it's so easy just to like fade into the abyss. I start seeing coaches who are like killing it, and then all of a sudden they just stop posting on social media, because the hard part about this business, honestly, is that no one's going to come and knock on your door and yell at you if you're not doing what you need to be doing. They're not going to come and say, you kind of been slacking, you just gave up on your business and I noticed. Like, no one's going to do that. So you can just fly off the radar, and people will notice. They're going to be like, oh yeah, what happened to her? I guess she must have decided not to do it. But you have to want it for yourself, because nobody can want it for you. So that is the beauty of this business. And it's also the downfall, because you're the only person that's in charge. But once you've made that decision, then it's very easy. It's very simple. When I got into this, I have given up many things. Raquel and I both have. We've done some joint things together that we have really been gung-ho about, and we have just given up because honestly, we faded into the abyss and we just kind of pretended it didn't happen. We've been there, we've done that. So don't let that happen to this business, because it's just a waste. It's a waste of your time, your effort, your talent. Don't do it. So I told myself when I got into this, I'm not going to start this. I'm not going to put my little face on social media and call myself a coach unless I'm willing to really go all in for a year. And then at a year mark, if I hate it, I'll be like, you know what? I'm done. But I'm going to choose to be done. I'm not just going to like creepily fade out. And a year later, I'm freaking in love and I'm so excited and I can't wait to keep going. But if I had not made that decision, there was so many times along the way that I could have easily just been like, maybe nobody will notice if I just stop. And you can't have that in your back pocket as an option, because if it's an option, you're going to take it. So you've got to make that decision that it's not an option. And then when you hit those funks, it's so much easier to figure out, okay, I just have to figure out how to get out of it. Good. So now we hit the reflect stage. So you have to figure out when you're in that turbulent time, what is the problem? Because it's not always the same. There's a lot of key things that we know we should be doing, but it's not always the same problem that's got you in whatever funk you're in. So first step is you have to take ownership of your business. So sometimes we like to just blame it on outside factors, whatever they might be, but there is no outside factors that we can blame on. We have to look at our business and say, what are we doing and what are we missing? What could we be doing better? Make sure that you feel like it's your business. That's really important. You have an upline, of course, but that upline is your support system. They're not your boss. So don't feel like you need to be doing what they're telling you to be doing. If you have a direction to do something different for your business, you go on with your bad self. It's your business. You do what you need to do to make it successful. And when it fails, it's on you. And when it succeeds, it's on you. So feel that ownership, because it's a really great thing. And then figure out where you're falling short. Is it your 3 vital behaviors? Is it your personal development? Is it that you are missing your own personal workouts? Your nutrition is lacking? Because honestly, if you are not happy and you don't feel good about you for whatever reason, your business is going to suffer, because again, that confidence will be lacking. You won't have the energy to invite. You're not going to be motivated to get up an hour earlier than you're supposed to. You're not going to be motivated to stay up an hour after the kids go to bed. So you first have to take care of yourself, because if you aren't feeling good about you, you just want to feel sorry for yourself and be a blob. And that's no way to run a business. So you've got to take care of yourself first. And then sometimes when you hit that turbulent phase, you feel like it's my team. If I had a better team, if they worked harder, but you've got to look at yourself, because what you're missing in your team is most often lacking in your own self. I heard that on a call this week, and I was like, oh, it was a real gut check for me, but it's so true. If you feel like something is missing in your team, whether you have one person on your team or you are the person on your team, if you feel like something's missing, most likely you're going to see that that's reflected in your own personal day-to-day actions. And that's great, because it's fixable. You can flip that around and you will see that reflect throughout your team. So that's really nice, but it is kind of hard to take that self-reflection and say, oh, it could be my fault. And look at your checklist. So if you're not using a checklist, use a checklist. I didn't use one for a really long time, and I'm kicking myself, because again, I like to make things harder than they should be, but I'm trying to prevent that for all of you. Use a checklist. I like to think of it, when I look at my checklist, when you're you've been eating out of control, and sometimes you have to recheck in with MyFitnessPal. Let's just put my food, what I ate today, so I could just take a little gandy. And you're like, that's disgusting. And you are totally shocked back into eating, getting back to what you were supposed to be doing so you can start feeling good again. It's the same thing. When you have a checklist in front of your face and you're able to say, oh, hey, this month has been really hard, but the last 3 weeks of checklist, I've done nothing. So that makes sense. That's where that came from. But if you don't have that to look on, then it's just another one of those kind of excuses that we throw up. It's like, I'm in a funk. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know why. There's always a reason, and that checklist will help to keep you on point with what it is. So lastly, so this is something else I heard on a call this week. I've been doing a ton of videos and ton of training this week, because I've wanted to figure out the best way to approach this call and the best way to make sure that we're helping each other. And think of it this way. If you had to show your social media, your personal messages, your inviting, your checklist, what you were eating, your workout, what you were doing with Shakeology, if you had to show that to your upline, would you be proud of it? Would you be proud to show that to someone else and say, this is what I've done in my business? Because your business means what you're doing, your business needs your checklist, your business needs your social media. Would you be proud to show that to your upline? And be honest with yourself. I know that there are some weeks that I would not want anyone to see it at all because I totally slacked. But if I think of that in the back of my head, would I be proud to post this on Team VIP? And if I wouldn't, it motivates me to reignite my fire and be like, what am I doing? And then I get back at it. So think of that too. Sometimes that's a great push. Next, okay, so you figured out what your problem is, whatever it might be. It's different all the time. Now you have to take action to actually get out of the funk. So this is, like I said earlier, this is where we tend to fall short. We figure out, okay, this is my problem. I need to do more personal development, but I don't do it. Or I know I need to personally invite, but I don't do it. So talking about it won't fix the problem, and talking about it won't grow your business. You've got to actually physically get that action rolling. So there's 3 main things, backing up in order of importance. So number 3, dial in those problem areas and set something tangible. So these are just examples. Of course, there's so many things that could be going on, but just some examples. It is personal development. Figure out what works for you. If you feel like you're trying to listen to audio in your car, but you never do it, then don't do it. If you are somebody who needs to read a book, make sure that you get up 15 minutes early in the morning and start your day with personal development. That eat the frog mentality. Whatever you're lacking, do it first thing in the morning. If that's what you need to do to make it consistent, do that. If whatever you're doing isn't working, you've got to change your habit, change your modality. If you don't like listening to it, read it. If you don't like reading it, listening to it. If you like watching, get on YouTube. There's so many ways to receive the information, but if you don't do it consistently, it really affects your business. If it's your personal workouts and your nutrition, sometimes you wave in and out because you're coaching, you're constantly motivating, and sometimes that's draining for you. But you have to, every once in a while, you've got to jump into your challenge group all in. You can't be 70% in. You need to be from day 1 to day 30 or day 1 to day 21 just as in it as your challengers are. And if you feel like it's tough in your challenge group, join another coach's group and be a rock star participant in their group. But really go all in when you're feeling like you're slacking in your own personal workouts and nutrition, because that comes out in every surface of your business. It comes out on your social media. It comes out on your motivation to get your work done. So make that a priority. If you're falling short with Success Club, sometimes that becomes like what puts you in a funk. You feel like, I'm working so hard, but I'm not hitting Success Club, or I'm not getting the numbers that I want to get for Success Club. But sometimes you start to really focus on the number. And so you start to divert your passion and you divert your energy. So bring that mind shift back to what you're doing. If you're trying to get coaches, remember, it doesn't matter if they say no, it doesn't matter if you get 100 no's, because if you change one person's life and you give one person the opportunity to become a coach and change their financial situation, to change their family situation, it is worth 100 no's, because you have such a big opportunity for people. And think of every time you've had a challenger tell you they lost 4 pounds or 8 pounds or so many inches, or Shakeology has changed my life, or I'm off high blood pressure medication. Are you upset that you got 100 no's when you have those 4 people tell you those amazing results? Like, you literally changed their life, literally. That's a big deal. So if you stop thinking about it as points and remember the opportunity that you're providing people, you will be much more motivated to get out there and invite, because that fires me up. I want to like touch and talk to every single person. I don't care if they say no. Like, okay, well, whenever you decide, you're going to have me in your brain. And then for the next person that I do get to change their life, I reached out to them, because there's so many people that you're going to miss opportunities with if you don't reach out. I've had so many people that I never would have thought would have done a challenge or become a coach until I reached out to them. And they're like, oh, thank God. I'm like, I was here the whole time. You could have reached out, but they never do. They're like waiting for someone to say, hello, I would like to change your life, please. Ah, well, since you asked. So remember that, because those people are out there waiting. And here's something too, which is kind of a backwards bazinga. If you do not get them to do it with you, they're going to do it with somebody, whether it's Beachbody and they choose another coach, they become a coach with someone else, or they use another product that you know isn't as good, and those hurt. Especially when you see them and you're like, ooh, I thought about that person, but I was scared to message them. Well, somebody else wasn't scared to message them, and now they got them, you know? And so deep down in your gut, they're not getting the experience they would have got with you. So don't be scared. Think of the opportunity that you can offer people and let that be your push. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent. Back on my focus. Number 2, try stuff that's different. This is probably the most important thing. We have such different personalities, and we are all across the board, and like where we're at in our life stage, what we've got going on, you know, just everywhere. So if you are feeling like whatever you're doing is not working, do something else. There are so many forms of social media. Try something different. If you feel like, I'll tell you, I've been trying Instagram. Instagram's not my jam. Okay, nobody likes me on Instagram. They're like, who's this girl? She's stupid. No, 0. So, okay, I'm done with you, Instagram. Like, I will pay attention to you slightly, but I've done my due diligence. You're off my service. And now I need to move on to something that I can be better at, that I have more confidence with, that's something that fits me better. Jen just told me before the call, that she and Snapchat are like this. And Raquel, 32 years old, just joined Snapchat, so she's about to Snapchat it up. But I'm just saying, if there's something that you feel like isn't working, you feel like Facebook is not where you attract the most people, you attract them through Instagram, drive your traffic through Instagram and push them to Facebook for your challenges. The point is just change. If you feel like something isn't working, change the way you're getting information out there. This is with everything. Social media is just a big example because we, of course, use it so much. But remember that with social media, with your personal development, with your invite approach, if you feel like you've been using the examples on Team VIP and you're like, oh, they just don't work for me, use something different. Spin it a different way. Try it until you feel you've got your secret sauce, because you're going to figure out, okay, when I post this way, people really connect with me. When I invite this way, people really connect with me. I know for me, I got to get people on a video. Whenever I'm trying to get a new coach, I get them on a video call because it's so much easier for me to get their personality. Who is this person? How are they going to fit in this business? How can this best benefit them? If I can see them, if I can feel their energy. So that's what works best for me. If the idea of doing a video call freaks you out and makes you sweat, don't do that. Do a phone call or do email, whatever makes you feel confident, but don't be afraid to change avenues when you start to feel like something isn't working. Because the definition of insanity is to continue to repeat the same thing over and over and over and expect a different outcome, because you won't get one. You've got to be willing to adjust. And then that's with the way you approach your social media. So the avenue that you use, and then also look at what you're doing, what you're confident in. If you're somebody who's awesome at nutrition, use that. Pull people in. Become the nutrition guru. If you're a fashion person, become the fashion guru. They'll be checking your page every day to see what your outfit is for the day. And then when they see you also do health and fitness challenges, double whammy. That's how you pull them in. So it doesn't matter what attracts people. Don't feel like it has to be constantly health and fitness related, because it doesn't. It just has to be something that's authentic to you, that can relate to other people and pull them in. So really be genuine to you and try just a bunch of different stuff until you feel like something is really catching on, and then dive into it. Go back through your social media. What gets the most engagement? What gets the most likes? When do you get traffic? And figure out what is it about those posts that people like and resonate with, and use that to plan out your next week of social media to build that engagement. So using that, and then also lastly, get out of the Beachbody world. So Beachbody, use it as your resource. Learn. But remember, you're an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. So use those tools and, listen to podcasts and books and YouTube videos from other entrepreneurs. There's so many online marketing businesses, and whether they're online businesses or just any business whatsoever, those entrepreneur tools are so key, and they'll spark so much energy from you, even though they have nothing to do with Beachbody specifically. And sometimes it's good to get out of Beachbody world because it refreshes you and it gives you a different perspective. You don't want to, can necessarily do exactly what all these top 10 coaches have been doing verbatim, because that's not you. And there's no reason to say that you can't come up with a bigger, better plan that shoots you there faster. So just be open and willing to change. Number one, most important thing to get out of your funky funk is don't do it alone. So you must have a success partner. If you don't have a success partner, reach out to your upline. Reach out to them ASAPO, shoot them a text, give them a call, post on the Team VIP page and say, I am in need of a success partner. If you don't have that person who you can have the daily grind with, that will push you and motivate you, and most importantly, never let you quit, you've got to get that person, because there's going to be great days and you want to share that with somebody, and there's going to be terrible days and you want to share that with somebody. Man, I just put an invite out and not one person has liked it. You want to tell somebody that. You can get it off your chest, or you can say, hey, I put an invite out and I tried something new and I did this funky thing and it's going crazy on fire. You want to tell somebody that. So you've got to have that person who's your success partner. They can be anyone on Team VIP. Grab anybody that doesn't have a partner, or if you have somebody who maybe you're new and you want to grab, you have a sister, or you have a best friend, or you have somebody who you know would rock in this business, pull them on as your success partner and say, you know what? I started this business and I know that you and I together can be a dream team in this business. So get on over here and get on board with me. It really will make a world of difference. And then make the team calls a non-negotiable. So just put this in as your Sunday personal development. Hopefully that you're getting a ton of information from it, but more importantly, we all know each other. We're all on the grind together. We're all going after the same thing. We're here to help each other. And it helps you to fill your cup up every week and to be able to see everybody's beautiful faces and to know that, hey, they're trying, I'm trying, we're in this together. It's motivating. And we try our best to squeeze it into 30 minutes. So 30 minutes out of your week really helps to continually propel your business forward. So just make that a priority. And then building your team. Whether you have one person or two people, the faster that you build your team, the more you become committed. Your feet are in the ground. You become, that foundation is laid. And you're not going to bounce out on your team. You're not going to be like, this kind of got hard, so I'm glad I brought you into it, but good luck. You're not going to do that. You want to stand there and you want to make sure that you're leading your team, that you're supporting your team. And most importantly, when you've got a team, why would you ever want to leave it? You don't. So the faster that you build that, the faster that you feel successful and the faster your business maintains that level of success. So when you go through those turbulent times, it doesn't even cross your mind to give up. It doesn't even cross your mind to back off. You're like, man, I got to get together. I have a team to support. I've got a team to motivate. So let that be your motivating factor to get your team built. And just know as well, like Team VIP is your hub. This is your home. But you can start your own team page and your own team group whenever you're ready. If you are an Emerald coach and you want to start your little team page with you and your two coaches, great. You can take all the material from Team VIP and push it to your coaches. And you can plug them into our calls until y'all are ready to have your own calls. But just know, whenever you're ready to do that, we are not like locking you in here. You will always be part of Team VIP because you're our personally sponsored coaches. But as you create coaches, you're creating that same thing for yourself. And then you just get to, again, pay it forward and make that triple effect. So just put that in your little brain, because the faster you get that going, the faster your foundation is concrete. So things to end with, things to think about before we go to questions and kind of conversation. If you want to reach your why, then do it. So I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. I think sometimes we beat ourselves up and we get down on confidence and we decide, oh, it's kind of too hard. I think I'll just go back to business as usual and I'll just, keep making it. I was doing okay before. But don't do that to yourself. If you want to do something, just do it. Not necessarily going to be easy, but if you make the decision that you're going to make it happen, you will. But if there is a shred of doubt in your mind, you won't, because it's going to be hard. Because like I said earlier, you're the boss, so no one's going to tell you to do something. No one's going to give you a deadline. No one's going to say, hey, you need to invite 50 people this month or else. That's not going to happen. But if you have a big why and you have a non-negotiable of I do not care what happens, it is happening, you're going to be successful. End of story. So it really is that black and white. I think we overcomplicate it as we go. And I think we overcomplicate it because we get in the thick of things and we get in the weeds and we forget why we started. So remember that as you go. Remember that you can do it. And I know for me, my undying motivation, I will not give up, because I need to prove to the entire universe and to everyone who thinks I am just a silly little joke that I'm not. I'm like, listen, even my husband, he's sweet as pie, he's very supportive, but I tell him all the time, I'm like, well, when I make my first million, and he's like, ha ha ha, okay. Like, no, but really. But I just need to prove it to myself. I need to prove it to everyone who doubts it. And I just need to prove it to the world that yes, this is happening. A normal person can put in the work, put in the time, stay consistent, and build a dream. That's so possible for all of us here, and that's the whole purpose. But it's not going to just be a cakewalk, because when I first started this business, and I used to tell Raquel this, I was like, I do not understand why everyone is not a gajillionaire, because it's so simple. I was like, there has to be something missing. I was like, I do not get it. I was like, it's so simple. There's nothing, you don't have to learn anything. You don't have to be this genius. You can be all kinds of different people. It's like, I just don't get it, why everyone is not successful. And then I finally, as I got into it and I got to the grind, I totally realized the only secret is being consistent and staying in the business. That is it. But so many people are not willing to be consistent because life happens. They get busy, or, oh, I had a kid, or, oh, I was sick this week, so I decided not to work, or, oh, it was summer, so I just kind of backed off, or we were doing this, or we were doing that, which all valid reasons, like totally valid reasons. However, that's what happens. You either fight through those valid reasons because you have a bigger purpose and a bigger vision, or you don't. And that's the difference between the success and the failures of this business. And when I figured that out, I was like, well, this is going to probably suck at times, but here I come. Like, it was a no-brainer after that. I was not worried. I was not concerned. I knew this was 100% possible because that's the only thing that is the difference between people who make it successful and people who don't, is giving up when it gets hard. So hopefully this helped and opened up some cobwebs. Does anybody have any questions or things that you want to share, rough spots that you've been in? Maybe we can talk through it and I can help out. I'll stop my screen share so I can see all your faces. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
So Jessica and I were talking about this because we have had our ups and downs in the business, and it's so true. I feel like for me, it's come like every quarter. Like first 3 months I was doing good, and then that 3-month mark, and then August, and then like November. And so I just feel like it's happened, but definitely having somebody to vent to or say, hey, I'm struggling. Can you give me constructive feedback? Like, go on my social media, tell me what I'm missing. You need somebody who can kind of give you the tough love approach, or, hey, I'm going to do a tracker for a week. And will you hold me to it? Will you, at the end of the week, ask to see my tracker and see where I'm going? And I really think that helps, but definitely growing your team. Jessica can always say that. Had we not grown a team quickly, we probably would have bounced when it got hard. So definitely encourage you to do that and to always know that we're here and we're in it with you, and what you're feeling is totally normal. And at some point, probably one or all of us has felt that. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, even if we're not your personally sponsored coach, just to be like, hey, I'm struggling. Do you think you can help me? Because promise, we've probably been there.
I think what Jessica said about the right before rank advancements is really tough. In the month of November, I literally had to sign my mom up and my sister up, take the hit and pay for them myself so that I could get Success Club. But I was bound and determined to get the trip to Nashville for free. So any new coaches on there, if you hit Success Club your first 3 months, you get a trip to Summit for free. So that was my motivation to do it. And I was like, I don't even care. I don't have the money. I'm about to get married, but I want to hit this so bad. So I signed them up, and I had talked to a lot of people that month, and none of them wanted to do it. But then January rolled around, and it was just like my business took off. I had so many people want to sign up then that I was able to start getting my husband to sign people up under him. And so it's just, and I'm at that about to be at a rank advancement again. And I'm last couple people in, and there's days where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of talking to people. I'm so tired of getting no, but I'm so close. So just keep pushing through, because it's such a rewarding feeling. And I've gotten to watch some of my coaches rank advance now, and they're so excited, and that it's all around motivating. So just keep pushing through the tough times, because there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It's true. Laura is the queen of making those things happen too. Like, if you feel like you're in a funk at the end of the month, you just call on little Millie and she will tell you what to do.
Like, to this day, my father-in-law is about to sign up, and I will be getting 3 things of Shakeology a month. because I want Scott to be a diamond. You know, Scott, which I run his business too, but I am like in it to win it. And I want Scott to be a diamond. And he really wants to be a diamond too. So it's just, you do what you do and you make your goals and you meet it no matter what. And just like you said, you hustled that month and you got no one, but January, everyone came through. And that's exactly what happens. The work that you put in today, maybe you won't see it this month, but you will see it next month or that following month. Those people will come back to you. So just keep going. Jessica, great call. Just keep going through that hustle every day and it will come through.
Any questions or issues that you guys want to ask or talk about? No, you're just so ready. Okay.
Oh, wait, me.
Oh, okay, good. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So I just wanted to mention that personal development is definitely a huge thing. Just having to dig mentally to get out of those funks, but like to reach out to something that will really get out of the funks. It's all me when I was already doing well or already in a good place. February is when I've hit this low and I finally got out of that funk, and it was because I found a book specific to inspiration, like an inspirational book to get me out of my head and out of my nasty fog that I was kind of falling back into. So that's a big deal, is to have a backup, like have different outlets of personal development to match what you're needing when it comes to an outcome, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Generally, like if you have an issue that you're struggling with, just search it. Search it on the World Wide Web. And whether you do YouTube or you like to read or podcast or whatever, something will come up that you can jump into. But if you're having a problem with, I don't know how to invite or how to say this, again, it doesn't always have to be specific to Beachbody. Even if it's just inviting, I don't know how to talk to people, or I don't know how to close a sale. If you just search that, you'll get flooded with all these ideas, and it will just open your mind up to something different. And you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. So sometimes that's a good approach. That's a great idea. Anything else?
Me.
Yes.
Okay. I have 3 people that I feel like I'm really close to signing up as, or interested in the coaching gig, I guess. They haven't ever done a challenge group. They don't really know about all this business, but they're so close. How much do y'all recommend that you annoy them to get in contact with you? Because I've given one girl my phone number. She hasn't set up a phone call with me, a time to do it. I'm just
until they block you or tell you no.
Okay.
Keep going. Honestly, we heard that on the call again this week. If you guys don't follow Amy Silverman, get her in your life. She's the number 2 coach this year, and she's way different than anybody else in the top 10. I'm absolutely obsessed with her because she's such a little pistol. Just search her. She's really good. But she's like, I do 100 follow-ups a day. She's crazy town. And I'm like, okay, I need to step up my game. I hear you. But she is literally you follow up with people until they give up or until they block her. She was talking about her experience. She said her coach reached out to her 10 times before she finally decided to sign up as a coach. And she's like, and some people think, oh my God, that's so annoying. But to me, I'm thinking I'm so grateful because this has absolutely changed my life. And if she had given up, if she had been scared to bother me, I would have never done it. So don't be afraid to do that. People will tell you no.
I would just recommend, instead of you giving them your number and waiting for them, I would flip it and say, hey, I have a new coach training, because we do. The first Monday of every month, we have a coach boot camp, and I have a couple spots left. I'm available tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. or tomorrow morning at this time. What time works for you? So let's get on the phone and chat. Instead of just kind of being open-ended, sometimes you have to really kind of lock them in. And, it may not be for them. Maybe I'll have a